My wife used to be a little confused. I was always there for her, took care of her for 6 whole years. I didn't expect her to suddenly come to her senses. Turns out it was the one she'd been missing who came back. She wanted me to get out of the relationship. She said to me, "You took care of me for so long. It's not in vain. You've taken advantage of all the benefits of my family. Now it's time for you to go. Be sensible and leave. I won't bother you. But if you make trouble, I'll have plenty of ways to deal with you." Her eyes are clear. She warned me with a smile. I didn't argue much. I simply agreed to her proposal and wished them eternal happiness. Olivia froze for a moment. I, however, burst out laughing. She didn't realize. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Let's sign this divorce agreement now. Olivia may have just recovered. The position isn't secure enough yet. That's why there's a special clause at the end of the agreement that makes it official in 1 year. She said, "Don't overthink it. It's not for me." Her eyes wandered, said, "You've been relying on us Andersons. I'll give you a year to prepare. After that, don't come back to me." I thought that was a bit ridiculous. Her thoughts were clear. It's that she doesn't want to be called ungrateful, because I once took care of her for 6 years. At that time, her mind was damaged. If she left me right after she recovered, it will affect her reputation. Simply put, it wouldn't be good for her to control the Andersons. So she insisted on staying married to me for another year. I had to admire her mental toughness and thick skin. But Mom and Dad turned around and advised me, "Don't get serious with Olivia. Let me use this year to re-impress her." They said, "It's inevitable for rich people to have some flamboyant stories. As long as you don't bring anyone home, just don't turn a blind eye to what's going on out there." "Liam, why are you doing this?" they say. "As long as you stay with Olivia. When she's had enough, she'll come back to you in the end." I can only laugh and shake my head. "Dad, Mom, the gap between us is too big. She never really belonged to me in her heart. Let you live like this. Are you happy with that, Mom and Dad? You've let me down. If Olivia had ever had a heart for me, I wouldn't have this divorce agreement in front of me." When she was competing for the heir of the group, she was killed in a car accident. Her mind was damaged. IQ retreated to the level of a 5-year-old. Later, she chose me, an ordinary man among the sons of many families, to be her nominal husband. Although it was only a marriage contract, I still took care of her wholeheartedly for 6 years. Now it seems she may have planned all this long ago. The battle for the Anderson Group's heir was fierce, but in the end it was she, the fool who seemed to know nothing, who won, became the biggest winner. Now her goal has been accomplished. Of course she doesn't need to act with me, a wild man from a small family. The night before she became the head of the Anderson Group, she wore a high-class gown. She looked both noble and cold. Her every move seemed to say that she held everything in her hands. She called out to me coldly, "Liam." This call made me realize she's not the same girl who shyly tugged on my coat as soon as she saw me. She's not the same girl who shyly tugged on my coat corner when she saw me and sweetly called me brother. Olivia was probably worried that I'd stick around. Obviously, she was the one who told me not to leave until a year later. But she always reminds me not to think about things that don't belong to me. And so, I'm a husband in name only. Every day I could only watch her and the white moonlight of her heart show their love in front of me. When Ethan moved into Olivia's villa, there were red-hot decorations hanging all over the house. It looked like there was going to be a wedding. Olivia deserves to be the boss. Without saying a word, she bought Ethan several sets of haute couture suits and a brand-name sports car. Seeing these, I can't help but think back to when I was married to Olivia. Because she wasn't thinking clearly. She didn't understand anything. Our wedding was rushed and simple. Back then, she would still cry and tell me she wanted to be strong, not to let others bully me. But now she's the one who bullies me. Now, Olivia is afraid that Ethan will be bullied. Always takes special care of him in front of others. People who don't know think Ethan is her real husband. Actually, it's not that bad. This husband of mine is just a false name, to be frank. I was just a free nanny for 6 years. Ever since Olivia became the head of the Anderson Group, she's gotten more and more out of control. She spends all day with Ethan. I'm her husband in name only. Has become heir in her eyes. playing games with Noah. He's still talking for me in the voice-over. Look at his gnashing of teeth. I couldn't help but laugh. Hey, what are you doing? You're even angrier than me. Take it easy. It's not a big deal. Noah smacked his lips. If I'm not angry, who is? We grew up together. I know your character the best. If I don't help you, I wouldn't be able to justify it. You're always so calm. Even when people bully you, you won't fight back. He chided me in disappointment. Anyone with a little bit of eyesight can see how good you've been to Olivia these past few years. Back then, she was pushed down and was scolded. It was you who stood up to protect her. All these years you suffered. Isn't it all because of her? Now she actually brought another man home openly. What an ungrateful person. All the good you've done for her is for nothing. Noah accuses Olivia angrily. The more he talks, the angrier he gets. I was aware that my friends were angry about what had happened to me, but I didn't really take Olivia's attitude too seriously. At most, I just sighed in my heart every once in a while that things were different, and so I simply changed the subject, talked to Noah about something else. Let's not talk about that for now. I've been trying to find a job recently. You have any good recommendations? Coincidence. Our company is hiring. I remember you studied administration. You can come and try to apply someday. To be honest, our boss is a big beauty. Maybe you can even have a nice encounter with her. As soon as he talked about his boss, Noah immediately got excited. He gushed to me about how beautiful and charming she is. He even compared her to Olivia. He said his boss is pure and dedicated. She's very good at taking care of people. If I wasn't familiar with Noah, I would have thought he was being paid by his boss. I'd have thought he'd been bribed by his boss to act as a go-between for me. I laughed. Haha, I'll take your word for it. I didn't pay much attention to what Noah said. I just thought that I still had a year left in my engagement with Olivia. As long as nothing goes wrong, my life would soon be back to normal. But things don't always work out that way. I didn't want any trouble. Trouble came to me when I was getting ready to go out. I saw Olivia and Ethan making out in the living room. They seemed very close. I was embarrassed to be there. I was just about to leave. Ethan suddenly said, "Hey, there's Liam. Isn't this Liam? Where are you going? Why are you suddenly interrupting my intimate time with Olivia?" It's not very polite. This is the first time I've met Ethan face to face. He's really handsome. He's only in his 20s. Those bright fox eyes are especially attractive when you look at him. If I were a woman, I probably wouldn't be able to resist the urge to hug him as well. But my eyes were still attracted by the obvious hickey on his collarbone. It's obvious. Something happened between him and Olivia last night. You don't really have to look to guess. After all, the three of us live together. Every night I could clearly hear the commotion in their room as soon as Ethan shouted. Olivia then realized me. She turned her head. Displeasure was evident on her face. It seemed I had indeed disturbed them. I knowingly didn't approach, said something from a distance. "I just want to go out for dinner. I'm sorry to have disturbed you." "I'm sorry. I'll be on my way." My good sense wasn't recognized by Ethan. He rubs his face gently against Olivia's hand. He lowered his head and said, "Liam doesn't like me. Why did he have to leave as soon as he saw me? I am not doing something wrong." Olivia listened. She immediately kissed him. She comforted him. How could anyone not like Ethan? He gave me a hard stare, shouted, "Why don't you come over here and apologize to Ethan?" I obediently walked over, keeping my head down, trying to look inconspicuous, prepare to be quiet, not say a word. "Sister Olivia, am I too ugly? That's why brother Liam keeps his head down and won't look at me." Ethan thinks the atmosphere isn't awkward enough. He puts on a cautious look again. He wraps his arms around Olivia's neck, preparing for a play of grief. Olivia says, "Nonsense. Our Ethan is clearly the sweetest boy in the world, unless that person has eye problems. How could he not see your charm?" Olivia said this. She kept her eyes on me, just in case I didn't understand that the blind man she was referring to was me. This kind of eyes. I'm too familiar with it. When Olivia and I first got married, Miss Anderson wanted to give Olivia a hard time, deliberately provoked me in front of everyone. I hit her back with a sarcastic remark. She was so angry she tried to slap me. Olivia immediately stood in front of me, yelling at Sophia, "No bullying Olivia's Liam brother." The way Olivia looked at Sophia at that time, She looked at me exactly the same as she looks at me now. It was so cold, with hate and warning. How could I have never imagined? That stupid kid who used to say he'd protect me. Now he's protecting others in the same way. I stood there, saying nothing. I didn't do anything, but took the blame for hating Ethan. Olivia's biased defense made Ethan immediately raise an eyebrow. She gave Olivia a sappy look. "Sister, you're still the best to me." "Yes, yes, yes." Mr. Ethan and Miss Olivia are so affectionate. Anyone who sees them says they're perfect for each other. I hurriedly followed Ethan's words. "I just want to leave this place as soon as possible." After saying this, I felt Olivia's eyes become sharper as she looked at me. Maybe it's because my words reminded her of the days when she used to play dumb and stoop low in front of others. I had these thoughts running through my head, but knew that now was not the time to make a spectacle of myself. A completely different reaction than Olivia's. Ethan was satisfied with my answer. "Brother Liam is really good at talking. Aren't you going out for dinner? Go and eat quickly. Don't get hungry." Seeing that he was finally willing to let me go, I hurriedly said with a smile, "Then I won't bother you any more. I'll be on my way the whole time." Olivia didn't say a word. Her eyes always stayed on Ethan in her arms. However, I've been expecting this for a long time. I just hope that this year will pass quickly so that I could leave them for good. I didn't realize. Olivia stared at my back as I left. Her eyes became a little complicated. She seemed to be hiding some emotion, but hid it well. Even Ethan thought she was just mad at me for interrupting them. Didn't notice her momentary lapse. When I got home, Ethan was already out the door. I looked around the living room and didn't see Olivia. I didn't see Olivia either. It was immediately clear. They probably won't be back tonight. I was about to go upstairs to my room. Suddenly, I heard a low, cold voice from behind the couch. "I didn't realize that my not coming home would make you so happy. I didn't know I could make you so happy by not coming home." I turned my head to see Olivia staring at me with a cold face leaning back on the couch. Her eyes are dark and dangerous. What kind of person wears all black and sits in the couch at night without turning on the lights? I muttered in my mind, but still pretended to be surprised on my face. Walked up next to her and said, "Mtkes Olivia, why don't you turn on the light at home?" Olivia suddenly grabbed my shoulder and said, "Liam, have you forgotten that we two are still husband and wife?" She didn't look well. I guess it's because I caught her with Ethan today. That's why she's in a bad mood. I've never seen Olivia like this before. I didn't want to get into trouble. I just had to say it. "Of course I remember. Mtkes Olivia, don't worry. Today was just an accident. I'll take care of it next time. I won't bother you and Mr. Ethan again." Olivia's face becomes even more ugly. A strange smile appeared on her face. Hummed softly, hand on my waist, even through the shirt. I could feel the warmth of her hand. She asks, "Liam, you said before that you wouldn't betray me, that you wouldn't leave me. Is that right?" "Yes, I did." I bowed my head. I looked into Olivia's hostile eyes. "But we've already signed the divorce papers. Those words don't count anymore." "What? You've been acting all fake these days just to remind me of the divorce papers. Or is it, you've fallen in love with me?" No, 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 no. Mtkes Olivia, you're mistaken. My engagement to you is just part of your plan as a partner. How could I possibly have feelings for you? Olivia stared straight at me. Her eyes are deep. It's impossible to guess what she's thinking. She still holds the fate of our family in her hands. It makes me promise to stay with her for another year. Okay, good for you. Olivia suddenly let go of me with a sneer. "Liam, don't forget what you said. I believe you're a man of understanding in that case. For the next year, you should fulfill your duties as a husband. I've always thought, even if there's no love between me and her, as I've taken good care of her for the past 5 years, things wouldn't have gotten too uncomfortable." Olivia suddenly got angry. I don't understand why at all. My first thought was that Ethan had spoken ill of me in front of her during the day, but that's unlikely. Ethan targeted me just because I've been Olivia's husband for 5 years. He wasn't sure how much weight I carried in Olivia's heart. After that trial, he finally got the answer he wanted. Probably won't give me a hard time anymore. I know. I followed Olivia into the master bedroom. When I came out after washing up, She was already lying on the bed asleep. There was only one night light left on in the room. This is a habit Olivia left behind after her car accident. In the years when she wasn't quite awake, even with me beside her, she would always remind me to leave a light on before she went to bed. I watched her sleep for a while, before slowly lying down on the other side. I thought I wouldn't be able to sleep. Who knows in the quiet environment? It didn't take long to feel sleepy. I dreamt that I was dragging a girl to play happily on the beach. It was clear to me. It was a memory from before I was forced to marry Olivia. The girl, on the day I married Olivia, completely disappeared from my world for so many years. I've tried everything, still couldn't find her whereabouts. Just when my dream was about to get even better, I suddenly felt a chill on my back. Suddenly woke up with a start, realizing that Olivia was already awake. She was leaning against the bed, looking straight at me. I was startled. Before I could slow down, just heard her coldly ask, "Who let you sleep next to me? I let you in to take care of me. You can't even do this little thing. You're useless. Get out." After Olivia stopped playing dumb, her moods are always changing. I can't figure her out, but it's good not to be in the same room with her. It's a good thing. I hurriedly got up from my bed. My mind is still a bit foggy from my first sleep. I almost hit the nightstand by accident. Luckily, it only shook a little. After I stabilized myself, I walked straight away, so I didn't see Olivia's half-extended and retracted hand. The next day, Olivia went to the office early in the morning, though she had just taken office, and used strong-arm tactics to clear out everyone in the group who opposed her. But Sophia wasn't restless. Plus, those old shareholders who supported Sophia were messing around behind her back. Luckily, Olivia is now connected to the Anderson family. Otherwise, it might not be so easy for her to establish herself at Anderson Group. I didn't sleep well the night before. When I met with Noah, he saw the dark circles under my eyes. Liam, you didn't go stealing last night." Noah asked me what was wrong. I said I just had a little trouble sleeping. It's been too long since I've worked. Thought I'd stay up all night putting together my resume. Don't work too hard. I know what you can do. You'll definitely do well in our company. Noah patted my shoulder easily. I believe in my ability. It just suddenly occurred to me. Olivia stayed at my house all night last night, although nothing happened to us. But in Ethan's opinion, it was like provoking him. I was worried he'd come after me, and sure enough, Noah and I just came out from the interview. Ethan's bodyguard approached me. "Mr. Liam, my young master wants to invite you to the tea house. Come with us." This bodyguard is very tall, half a head taller than me when he looks down at people. The corners of his eyes and eyebrows are slightly raised. A faint smile hangs at the corner of his mouth, with a hint of contempt. It made people uncomfortable to look at. Noah immediately caught fire, coldly laughed and said, "Heh, some dogs stay with their masters for a long time. When they learn a little bit of human behavior, they really consider themselves as human beings." Noah's words were sarcastic, unceremoniously mocked. "Don't think you're so powerful. If you're trash, you should know your place. We're not a garbage dump here." The moment these words came out, that bodyguard's face immediately turned ironic. "Mr. Liam, our young master is genuinely inviting you. I hope you won't be ungrateful. Control your friends. Otherwise, you'll get into trouble with the wrong people." "It's not going to be easy," I sneer. "The wild dogs on the roadside have no rules, rushing out and barking." It's not too much for Noah to scold him. "You're so angry. Could it be that you're in the right place?" The bodyguard was so angry that his face turned blue and left. Noah immediately raised an eyebrow at me, smiling. "I didn't realize you didn't stop me. I thought you'd hold back this time. I think when I see those two people in the future, that's how you should hit back before it hurts." I was amused by him. Right. You know, when it comes to quarreling, who's had it with you since we were kids? I've always been casual about Olivia and Ethan, because I don't care, so I didn't bother to say anything. Ethan is just trying to show off Olivia's favoritism towards him in front of me, and he's trying to be sarcastic. It's not worth listening to. If I care too much, I'd be asking for trouble. I understand you're standing up for me, but we really don't need to get angry over someone like that. Ethan just wants me to be jealous of him. I'm not going to do what he wants. Isn't that the best revenge? My best friend took it out on me. Of course I'm happy, but I don't want him to get hurt. Ethan is a proud man. He was angry with me. He'll definitely find a chance to get back at me. Liam, try this tea. See if it suits your taste. In the tea house, Ethan smiled and asked the tea master to pour me a cup of hot tea. I said, what Mr. Ethan brings out must not be bad. It's a pity that I don't know much about it. I heard that Ethan loves tea. Olivia then bought this tea house for him. She also spent a lot of money. She found all kinds of good tea leaves from all over the country and sent them to Ethan. Everyone knows Olivia is particularly fond of Ethan. After Ethan heard what I said, not only did she not get angry, he even looked at me with a smile. I heard that brother Liam is looking for a job recently. Is he short of money? Why don't you tell Sister Olivia? If Sister Olivia knew about this, she will be angry. If Liam is embarrassed, you can tell me directly. Although I am not very capable, but I'm good with money. As long as Liam asks, I, as a younger brother, will definitely not treat you poorly. I subconsciously pursed my lips, looking at the black card pushed over on the table. Heart feel a little funny. I didn't expect Ethan to actually act like in the TV show at all. Use money to get rid of me. I said to Mr. Ethan, trouble you to worry about me, but I don't like to get something for nothing. My marriage to me.You Olivia was supposed to be a deal. I get my fair share, nothing else. It seems Olivia didn't tell Ethan about our agreement. That's why he feels threatened by me. Thinking about it, I directly took off the jade trigger on my hand that the Andersons' old lady gave me when we got married. Pushed it back along with that black card. I did so. Not only did Ethan freeze, even the bodyguard behind him was surprised. Maybe Ethan didn't expect me to hand over what he wanted so quickly, but he still took it with a smile. Brother Liam, you said this. I've always respected you as if you were my own brother. Brother is in trouble. It's only right for me, a younger brother, to help. Ethan has probably never seen a love rival as understanding as me in his life. Before he could make a move, I'd already left with ease. Things have come to this. Ethan shouldn't have anything to complain about, but in his heart he might look down on me. He thinks I'm too timid. If he really thinks so, that would be great. Ethan poured me a cup of tea himself. He said, Liam, the necklace you are wearing is quite pretty. Why don't you sell it to me? When I heard that, immediately protect the necklace with my hand. Answer, this is just a cheap item. If Mr. Ethan likes it, me.You Olivia will definitely give you something better. This necklace was given to me by that girl. She's been with me for over 10 years. I can't remember what she looks like, but I will never give this necklace to anyone else. Ethan smiles slightly. His eyes are full of confidence. Liam, do you understand? As long as I, Ethan, want it, there is nothing I can't get. What does he mean by that? Is it to get it by force? My face sank, coldly staring at him. Mr. Ethan, it's not good to be greedy. Ethan didn't care, just waved his hand behind him. Immediately, 2 bodyguards surrounded him. One of them even reached out to grab it. The moment he was about to touch my neck, I quickly crouched down, drilled through the center of the table, rushed to Ethan in a flash. Before anyone could react, I landed a left hook to his face. His good-looking face immediately swelled up. Liam, Ethan looked shocked, eyes wide open, staring at me viciously. This time I didn't dodge, directly reached out and cupped his chin, making him look up at me. Ethan, I usually don't bother with you. It doesn't mean I don't have a temper. This time, you've gone a little too far, I said. I shook off Ethan's hand. His eyes were full of fear. I left the tea house without looking back. Not long after, rumors spread about Ethan and I fighting over favor at the tea house. So, when Olivia burst into my room in a rage, I wasn't surprised at all. She obviously wanted to make a case for Ethan, and I did whatever she wanted to do with it. But I didn't wait for Olivia's punishment. Instead, I heard her questioning with forced anger. The agreement between us, and the jade trigger Grandma gave you back then. You gave it all to Ethan. I didn't expect Olivia to say that as soon as she saw me, but on second thought, she probably originally planned to give Ethan a surprise a year later. But I broke it to her in advance, so she was a bit upset. I explained, me.You Olivia, nothing happened between us. Mr. Ethan is genuinely good to you. Surely you don't want him to feel uncomfortable or upset because of what happened to me. Liam, we've been married for so long. Have you always treated our relationship like a transaction? You are in such a hurry to leave me. I looked at her in confusion. I don't know where she's getting this inexplicable fire from. I asked her rhetorically. I asked her in return, when I first got married to you, didn't you force me into it? Olivia froze for a moment, a quick flash of weakness in her eyes, then said, Ethan just wants a necklace. You can just give it to him. It's not worth much money. I'll buy you a more expensive and better one some other day. Do you think it's okay? No way. I'm serious. The bracelet Grandma gave you is worth hundreds of millions. If you say you'll give it away, you'll give it away. You can't afford to give away a worthless necklace. Olivia narrowed her eyes. Her eyes suddenly become sharp. Liam, you wouldn't have received someone else's love token without my knowledge. Mtkes Olivia, I've been wearing it since I was a child. It's my personal item. I have the right to refuse your forced transaction. I looked straight at her. My tone remains firm. Mtkes Olivia, I've worked hard to take care of you for 5 years. I hope you don't make me hate you during this last time. Olivia frowned, sized me up carefully, then gave me a deep look. If you don't want to be missed, don't be so flamboyant in the future. She finished speaking, slammed the door and left. Without looking back, I looked at her distant back, eyes wet for the first time for 5 years. This is the first time I didn't listen to Olivia. But in order to keep the necklace, even if I have to fall out with her, I'd still be willing. Unfortunately, it's been too long. I can't remember what the person who gave me the necklace looked like. And where she is now, this necklace is the only thing I have left. Luckily, Olivia didn't take it away. I heard that in order to make it up to Ethan. Olivia bought a one-of-a-kind necklace worth over $1 billion from a foreign auction and gave it to him. At Ethan's birthday party, Olivia specially gave him a jeweled crown from a foreign royal collection. Olivia's big gesture for Ethan caused quite a stir in the country. As Olivia's official husband in everyone's eyes, I inevitably received many sympathetic glances. When I saw Ethan again, he still behaved in a condescending and ostentatious manner. What attracted my attention the most, the necklace hanging around his neck. Liam, the necklace that kid is wearing, it's not the one that's worth more than $1 billion, is it? Noah's eyes are wide open. Noah's eyes are wide open. Olivia favors him so much. She wouldn't bring him a fake necklace to make him happy. No wonder Olivia reminded me that day. So that's what she had in mind. Who knows? I averted my gaze, calmly walked to my seat and sat down. Just sat down. I hear the people next to me talking about the necklace around Ethan's neck. Mtkes Olivia is really generous to him. Such an expensive necklace. Bought it for him without hesitation. Who says otherwise? The Anderson family's boy is so lucky. Miss Olivia just recovered. He's just caught a break. You'd better not say anything like that. If anyone hears it, I can't protect you. The voices around us slowly diminished. I turned my head to look. I found that the 2 people who were still sarcastic about me just now were looking at me with embarrassed faces. They probably recognized who I was. I nodded at them, politely said, "You guys chat about yourselves. Don't worry about me. All that stuff Ethan wanted to show off. I don't give a shit. I don't even bother to argue with him, but my silence looks like a broken heart to others. But to others, my silence looks like I'm sad to the core." Seeing this, everyone didn't dare to say anything else. I sighed silently. It seems like this kind of fixed impression won't be shaken off until Olivia and I are officially divorced. Ever since the Andersons joined forces with Olivia, they are cooperating with each other. The momentum is building. Everyone in the room is here to ingratiate themselves with Ethan. The same people who were just talking about him behind his back. In a flash, they've gone to curry favor with Ethan. I sat on the side, looking at their lively appearance. I thought it was not bad. Everyone was happy. Olivia said Ethan was popular. There really was truth to that. It's not just the superficial courtesy. Even every dish and drink at the party. It was also all Ethan's favorite flavors. Olivia's love for Ethan has reached such a level, who can still not believe it? The wine in my hand was finished without realizing it, was about to get another cup, but I was stopped by a fair and slender hand. "Liam, your stomach hasn't been doing well. It's better not to drink too much." I raised my head. A familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of me. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Sophia. Seeing this long-forgotten face again, I felt like I was dreaming for a moment. I couldn't help but reach out my hand. I wanted to touch those familiar eyes. But then I shrank back in fear. "Is that you, Sophia?" "Sophia, it's me." Sophia grabbed my hand first. Her hand was a bit cold, but it relaxed my nerves. "I'm sorry I'm late," she said. I shook my head gently, still a little disbelieving in my mind. The person I've been looking for so long. Now it's so easy to appear beside me. Why are you still so stupid?" Sophia gently pinched my earlobe with her fingers, sighed and said, "Noah told me. You're not doing well at Anderson's. Always aggrieved. Are you stupid? Who bullied you? You should bully them back. Have you forgotten what I taught you before? It's been so many years. You haven't improved at all." I'm fine. I'm doing fine." I held on to her hand. There are so many questions I want to ask her, but I know this isn't the time to talk about them. I look over to Noah, who has been hiding behind Sophia. This guy is really being paid to be an undercover agent for me. On the second floor of the manor, on the terrace, Sophia and I stood side by side. Neither of us said anything first. Noah took the initiative to walk to the stairway, said he was looking out for us. After a while, I spoke first. "Sophia, where have you been all these years? I've been looking for you. I'm sorry." "I'm sorry, Liam." "Liam, I can't tell you where I've been yet." Sophia's eyes are hesitant, "But I can tell you, I've been watching you all these years." Sophia has been aware of what's been going on between Olivia and me. I pursed my lips. There were so many questions I wanted to ask her. Now they are all stuck in my throat. It's not going up or down. It's hard to hold it in the end. I only squeezed out a question with embarrassment. "Why did you suddenly appear here today?" I couldn't wait any longer. Seeing Olivia and Ethan treat you like that, I couldn't hold back any longer. When Sophia said this, there was obvious anger in her tone. I was a little surprised, so anxious. I remembered that Sophia was like me, Noah, both living in normal neighborhoods, both ordinary families. And now she's got the money and the background to be in the Anderson group. Totally not inferior to the Anderson group. A person can't become rich and powerful for no reason, unless she was already at the top. Thinking along this line of thought, I probably understand why Sophia disappeared for so many years. Thinking about that possibility, my heart settled down a little. As long as she didn't leave me on her own accord. It's fine, no matter what the reason is. As long as she is willing to tell me, I would understand her. However, Sophia didn't talk much about herself. Instead, she said to me seriously, "Liam, you believe me. Give me a little more time. I will bring you back from Olivia." Sophia's voice is different from Olivia. Olivia's voice is low and cold. Sophia's voice is naturally gentle and soft, especially when she makes assurances. People can't help but believe her. I'll wait for you. I nodded. Speaking of my engagement to Olivia, it was actually quite interesting. I accompanied Noah to the hospital for a medical checkup. I ran into Olivia. She was a little slow from the car accident. At the time, Sophia and her men were humiliating her. Olivia suddenly rushed out of the hospital room. She hugged me tightly and wouldn't let go. That's how it happened. I was inadvertently caught up in the strife between their gentry. After that, Olivia brought old Mrs. Anderson to me, offered to marry me. I refused. They went back to my parents. With a little bit of pressure from them, I had to sign a marriage contract with Olivia. In the past 5 years, although nominally Olivia and I were husband and wife, I was actually like a nanny, taking care of Olivia's stupidity for 5 years. Olivia and old Mrs. Anderson also privately funded my family. That's why my parents didn't want me to divorce Olivia. After all, it's easy to go from frugality to luxury. It's harder to go from luxury back to frugality. After living the life of a rich man, my parents never wanted to go back to a life where even traveling had to be finagled. If she hadn't thrown me a divorce settlement when she got sober, forcing me to step aside for Ethan, I'd probably still be stuck in this mess to this day. Lying in bed, my mind kept going back to the events of the past few years, these recent times. Olivia and Ethan were getting closer and closer, in the eyes of an outsider. I've almost run out of places. This turned out quite well. With the support of the Anderson family, Olivia slowly gained her footing. No one dares to gossip in front of her on the surface either. Maybe our contract can end early. I was just thinking about that. The door of the room was suddenly pushed open. A silhouette walked in. I hurriedly sat up from the bed. Before I had time to turn on the light, I was surrounded by a familiar scent. Liam. Through the faint light coming through the doorway, I saw Olivia looking down at me. Her expression was surprisingly gentle. Liam, it's been a long time since I've held you like this. Olivia used to be a bit silly. She had nightmares every night. She used to come into my room and beg me to put her to sleep, begging me to put her to bed. I wouldn't. She'd hold my hand and keep calling out for Liam's brother. Until I agreed. At that time, I treated her like a spoiled sister. Every time I put her to sleep, I'd sleep on the couch until dawn before going back to my room. Olivia must not have known any of this. But what's wrong with her today? Instead of going to Ethan's, she's acting all lovey-dovey in front of me. Liam, don't go, okay? Sophia has almost half of the company's shares, and a third of the shareholders support her. I have to get help from the Andersons. You understand my situation, right? I gave you the divorce papers before. It was just because I was angry that you had someone else in mind. I just wanted you to take a good look at me. Olivia reeks of booze. The breath she exhales when she talks keeps spraying on my neck. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Olivia, can you get up first if you have something to say? I try to push her shoulders away. Instead, she hugged tighter. I can't. Liam, ever since I came back to the office. You won't talk to me. I saw you walking with another woman today. Are you really going to leave me? Olivia said while gently pressing against my face. I know I've wronged you lately, but I want to establish myself in the Anderson group. I can't do it without the help of the Anderson family. Even if I marry Ethan a year from now, you'll still be the one I love most in my heart. I've never seen Olivia with such tender eyes, but facing this kind of eyes, I only felt panic in my heart. She never intended to let me go from the start. Don't be like that, Olivia. Olivia, you get up first. I panicked and pushed away the face that was getting closer and closer. I was about to break free. There was a sharp knock on the door. Olivia, Miss Olivia, you have to go to Anderson's house. They called and said Mr. Ethan is drunk. He can't see you and he's making a scene. Several bodyguards couldn't stop him. Olivia froze for a moment. Her brow furrowed slightly. She paused for a moment, gently kissed my forehead, then sighed and stood up and said, I'm going to go check it out if sleepy. You go to sleep first. When I come back, we'll continue to talk about what just happened. But Olivia is gone. She was gone for more than a week. When I saw Olivia again, she looked much more haggard. It could be that Ethan was becoming more and more capricious under her favor. It made her tired of coping. Still, these are not things I have to worry about. I'd made a date with Sophia a long time ago today to go hiking and watch the sunset. So I just glanced at Olivia, who was sitting in the living room in silence, and rushed out the door. Olivia gets up from the couch, takes my hand and asks, Where are you going? It's not in my agreement with Olivia to report a trip. Please let go of my hand. I wrench her hand away as hard as I can, putting on my backpack ready to go around her. No way, don't go. Olivia's face is visibly panicked. She's not usually this emotional. This time was even more tense than that one. I remember when she was pushed into the water. I didn't know how to swim. I saved her anyway. She ended up with a high fever at night. I've known for a long time that she's been playing dumb for the past 5 years. But at that time she was genuinely worried about me. She asked, Wasn't it Sophia who came looking for you? Do you want to go with her? No. Liam, I told you you're not going. You heard me. You're not going. Absolutely not. Olivia's eyes are red, grabbing my shoulders harder and harder. It's like if I say a word, she'll break my legs. She'd break my legs in a heartbeat. I understand her ridiculous possessiveness, but I don't agree with it. It's like taking a child's toy away from her. Even if she doesn't like the toy, she can justifiably claim it as hers. For Olivia, I was the one who took care of her for 5 years. Maybe in her subconscious, I've become her property. Mtks Olivia, don't you think this is boring? I let out a long breath, no longer resisting, turned straight around and stared her in the eyes. I don't want to continue the drama with her. If you hadn't used those tactics in the first place, how would I have gotten involved with you? I've been playing husband and wife with you for 5 years. Now you've got what you want. What more do you want, Liam? Olivia was so choked up by me that she couldn't speak. There was a pause. She says incredulously, I know it was wrong of me to drag you into this vortex of the Anderson family in the first place. You've been so dedicated to taking care of me these past 5 years. I thought you would at least care a little about me. Mtks Olivia, don't forget it was just a deal between us. You give me money. It's only right that I take care of you. I returned coldly. Who would like someone who is rude to them? Unless there's something wrong with the brain. Did Olivia think she was in an idle drama? Is she and I playing out one of those luxury family marriages before love? Don't be ridiculous. Mtks Olivia, you've been unfaithful in your marriage. Even if I had a crush on you, you've long since snuffed that out. You understand why I don't care about Ethan picking on me, because I don't care about you. These behaviors of yours are as ridiculous as clowns in my eyes. After saying that, I forcefully break Olivia's hand, put my bag on my back. I walked out of her house without looking back. 1 year later, have you heard? Olivia, the owner of the Anderson Group, is getting married to the young master of the Anderson family next month. Is that accurate? I heard that the Andersons and the Andersons have been having a bit of a falling out lately. My brother-in-law works as a florist for the Andersons. He told me the other day the Andersons had a big fight with Miss Olivia in the garden. I think it was because Miss Olivia was having an affair. Ah, if that's true, that would be interesting. Wasn't the Anderson family's mistress the one who rose to power? That's the way it goes, isn't it? It's a self-defeating situation. Cheating is a one-way street. The Anderson family's youngest son got what he deserved. That's right, I also heard. Mtks Olivia is keeping someone else. She looks a bit like her ex-husband. You think that's true? I think we should sell our shares in Anderson sooner rather than later, if they keep messing around like this. Sooner or later, the company will be finished at the auction. A few people are talking next to me. My phone call stopped for a while, but immediately continued again. I whispered to the other end of the phone, take it easy, drive slowly, be careful on the road, I'm fine. Buy whatever you want later. Think of it as my early birthday present to you. Sophia's gentle voice came from the other end of the phone, with a familiar warmth. I also smiled back, finally urged him to be careful on the road, then hung up the phone. I can't help but recall the conversation I just heard. Olivia and Ethan are getting married next month, but I wasn't surprised. Ever since I fell out with Olivia a year ago, I moved in with Noah. During this time, no matter how much Olivia approached me, I was always cold to her. Gradually, she came to me less and less. On the day the agreement came into effect, I saw her again in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau. She seemed to have something to say to me, but Ethan kept pulling her back. We could only rush through the divorce formalities. I didn't think she'd find a substitute for me later. What is this? Pretending to be affectionate, thinking about it. I suddenly felt a wave of nausea, thinking that I might never be able to look Olivia in the face again. I may not have many chances to see her either. After divorcing Olivia, I returned to society, joined Sophia's company. Sure enough, Sophia's identity is unusual. Just as I guessed back then. Back then he lived with us in an ordinary neighborhood. It was actually a test for the heir by the family. Later, seeing me being pestered by Olivia, Sophia took the initiative to propose a different kind of test. It was to have the ability to fight the Andersons sooner. During the 5 years that Olivia and I were married, Sophia kept a silent eye on me. Her most trusted eye was Noah, the traitor. He knew I was looking for Sophia, and yet he told me nothing. Have you been waiting long? Sophia sat next to me without realizing it. She handed me a cup of hot coffee. It's been cold lately. Take it to warm your hands. I came back to my senses. Look at her gentle eyes, smiled and joked. Your hands are also quite cold. Why don't you prepare a cup for yourself? Sophia smiled, gently held my hand, said, when your hands are warm, I'll be warm when I hold your hand. I couldn't help but smile. a warmth in my heart, although after divorcing Olivia, Sophia proposed to me many times, but I never said yes. On the one hand, I just got out of a failed marriage. On the other hand, I wasn't sure if a posh family like Sophia's was as complicated as the Andersons. Sophia may still have a crush on me now, but she may just be a youthful obsession that didn't work out. I don't want to do what I did with Olivia. It'll take another 5 years. Besides, there's been a gap of a few years between us, both emotionally and in life. Both have changed. Let's get along like this for a while, when the time is right. If we're still on the same page, it's not too late to talk about other things. I catch a glimpse of Olivia and Ethan coming through the door, hand in hand. Both of them don't look too good, especially Olivia. The corner of her mouth is still bruised. I don't know if they just had a fight on the way. Seeing Olivia in such a miserable state, I'm relieved. She's the kind of person who needs a troublemaker like Ethan. She needs to be treated well by Ethan, the troublemaker. I turn to Sophia. Sophia, are you going on a business trip soon? Yes, I am. Just for a project. I'll be back in 3 days tops. Liam, what do you want? I can bring it back for you. Sophia's been holding my hand. She's been holding my hand, gently fiddling with it, but every time she talks to me, she would look me in the eye intently. I'm often struck by these small gestures. People often say, love can be seen in the eyes, even if one is good at hiding it. Over time, the details will always reveal the true heart. Sophia is different from others. She always takes my business very seriously. There is indeed something I want to trouble you to bring back for me. I nodded seriously. Go ahead. Sophia raised her eyebrows, places a soft kiss on my fingertips. Whatever you want, I'll do my best to fulfill it. I pretend to hesitate for a moment, then smile at Sophia's increasingly nervous gaze. Then wait for the day you come back. Give me a bouquet of flowers and a ring. What? Sophia didn't react for a moment. Can't do it. I gently poked her delicate face, said, I was thinking, if you can do it, I'll promise to marry you. The words just finished. Sophia immediately showed a look of surprise on her face, completely forgetting that we are still in the auction. She directly hugged me tightly. I can do it. Can do. She kept saying this happily. Looks a little flustered. I let her hug me, not caring about the curious stares of those around me. Smiled and hugged her too. It's settled. I'll wait for you to come back.